Grüezi miteinander, guten Morgen, herzlich willkommen alle miteinander. Welcome everybody.
توكل كرمان. Sie ist Journalistin, Menschenrechtsaktivistin und Politikerin während des arabischen Frühlings. Im Jemen war sie eine der führenden Stimmen durch ihren gewaltfreien Einsatz für Demokratie, Menschenrechte und Frauenrechte. Dafür erhielt sie 2011 den Friedensnobelpreis.
Here, my name is توكل Kharman. I am from Yemen. I am Nobel Peace Prize laureate. My hobby, I have a very important hobby, is to face dictatorship everywhere, and to topple their regimes anywhere. And I feel and I believe that sustainable peace means freedom, means democracy, means development, means accountability, and means justice. And this is my main mission, and this is my work and my passion. And I don't think that we will be able to create sustainable peace in the international, in the regional, in the local field, unless we reach to real freedom, democracy, development, justice, and compassion within nations and between countries. This is my 1 minute introduction.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It is the most important keyword that will create sustainable peace around the world, in the international, in the regional, and in the local field. Why cooperation is very important? Because what is happening now is the bad people, the bad powers, they cooperate with themselves to crush peace, to crush development, to crush the rule around the world. What we are witnessing now is far, away from the conflict that we witnessed through, years, previous years. Now we are witnessing the rising of dictatorship, and the dictatorship rising as a camp that attacking everything, not just the freedom of their own people. Like I live under the authoritarian regime. We were suffering and still suffering from this authoritarian regime, and calling the world to be with us, to help us on free the world from this dictatorship, as we send a very important message that dictatorship is not a local affair. It is not only a local dangerous, it really poses a great risk to the global security and peace. What is now we witnessing? It is not just in the local field, it's in the global field. Now dictatorship is gathering themselves against the global freedom, the global democracy, the global development, and the global compassion. And this is now, when we are talking now about cooperation, that means we people, first, we have to gather ourselves as NGOs, as people, as private sector, as ordinary people. We have to take the responsibility. We have to save our humanity from within first, because what is happening now is tearing us apart. Internally, inside our nations, through divided us to regions, to sects, to colors, and here in the West, you feel that. You feel how you are now divided between camps, between many identities. So it's very important now to save our humanity, to cooperate with ourselves within our countries, to don't let hatred to spread, to don't let racism to spread, to don't let fears from others to spread, to don't let mistrust of ourselves to increase, and the same thing, to listen to other voices around the world, the people in Mexico, the people in Latin America, in Africa, in Arab region, people who are sacrificing, suffering, and willing to have their freedom, democracy, and development. This is the most important. Cooperation should start from us, and we shouldn't stop our call for the governments to democratic governments, to wake up, to stop their alliances with dictators, to stop their brutality, to stop their violence, to stop their compliance against people. And now they have to gather. And here, I'm calling Switzerland, like yesterday in my lecture. Now, I think sustainable peace should start from here, from Switzerland, as a neutral country that should lead the peace and democracy and development. This is very important, should be promised. What I want to add something is about the accountability when we are talking about accountability. Accountability, it should be now, when we are talking about sustainable peace, accountability should be, go towards anyone in the responsibility. Starting with governments, and also after that, the corporation. And if we, all of us, search about who behind the conflicts around the world, you will see the colonialism, you will see the multinational corporation and companies. That is very important. And here again, we are in Switzerland, and we have, you people should raise the voice of accountability. Those people who are in power, who wage wars under the pretext of democracy, for example, like what happened in Afghanistan and Iraq, and they destroyed the whole countries under this slogan, while they didn't provide any democracy, any freedom, they just give destruction and force people to flee their countries, and now they scream in the Western countries from refugees, while those governments supported dictators, destroyed countries, occupied and steal the wealth of people. And now with corporation, this is corporation companies, the big companies. That is very important. We witness how these big companies are destroying the environment, especially in Latin America, especially in our country. In Africa, they destroy the environment, they cause climate change, and there is no real accountability to those companies. And now we are seeing this with the big tech companies, that they spread hatred, misinformation, and chaos without making this social, and they became the tool of government of suppressing people. So accountability is very important. How can we, and we will discuss it after the break, what is the solution? But this is very important, that accountability is very important for creating sustainable peace. And we will not be able to hold anyone accountable if we people stay silent. Yeah. So speak up, refuse the injustice, and don't allow your governments to support dictators, to support wars, to support occupation, to embrace bringing monies of dictators to your countries and suppressing, and then igniting and conflicts and dividing people. And this is now you are witnessing that in you, and that is what's happening now in our countries. Now we're witnessing it here in the Western countries, that you are suffering from this division and the same that when dictators started in our countries. Now some of the fascists, they take lessons from dictators and they wanted to implement it here. So we have, again, to be one voice, to believe on our power, collective power to change, because we have that very superpower to stop all this deterioration. That one of the most important solutions now that we call Switzerland to lead the world now. We are living in the age of the collapsing of global order, and we need a country to to stop this deterioration in the global order, because if the global order collapses, there is no any kind of talk for peace, for development, for anything. So we need a country that reform the global order to be based in rule, to be based in values, to be based in human rights. It was based on double standard, unfortunately, but the alternative is not collapsing it, it's reforming it. So we call Switzerland to take this initiative to transform the neutrality to be real positive power, to mediate, to create peace, and again to save the global order from removal. It's to reform it. This is number one. Number two is we should, I think, encourage and call for the compassion, especially from within nations and people, and we call the private sector on their responsibility. And the countries to stop their aid cut. Now there is a strategy, there is a policy of aid cut that is cutting the aids around the world, and just make some aids just for their interests, not for the fighting poverty or helping or supporting education or health or so. It's very important to encourage private sector, NGOs, to be brave enough to continue the aid cut. This is the second point. It's aid, the compassion, the cooperation between nations. It's very important because what is happening now is war against solidarity. We need solidarity to become, and this is calling countries, calling companies, private sector, and NGOs, donors. And the third thing, which is very important, supporting the will of people for freedom, for democracy, for dignity, and rule of law. This is very important. Anywhere that people suffer from dictatorship, from injustice, we should support people, not collapsing countries. And this is the real mean of, supporting people from within, that they have to win their battle for democracy, not collapsing countries under the pretext of fighting dictatorship. So this is very freedom, democracy, development, justice, and rule of law is the corner of sustainable peace. The problem that we are suffering now, because there is no commitment from superpower companies, from superpower countries toward peace and development around the world. It's just word. So what we need a binding mechanism. Yes, we don't trust the authoritarian regime or other regimes to collect this money and to then support, spend it on, no, they will spend it on stealing or on everything, especially with the authoritarian regime. But what we need a binding mechanism that bind all governments on paying certain percentage of their national income to distribute it to the development and peace. How? This will lead that we need, to reform the global institutions, especially the UN. But
just quickly,
for this, no, this is very important. This is the solution.
But she has a solution.
Again, I will finish this. What I improve his suggestion, because 2% is very little to these wealthy countries and people. He's talking about people, and I'm saying that people and countries should have more than 10% of their national income to be distributed for fighting corruption, for development and peace. And who did that is the United Nations. We need binding, but it's very important. Otherwise, there is no commitment. They just giving words, and they just killing people and taking wealth of people. Yeah, I support it.
Okay, we have 4 minutes, so very quickly.
And this is the magic solution